Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' campaign recently released an advertisement hailing him as a fighter chosen by God ahead of the 2022 midterm elections. In 96 seconds, the video referred to God 10 times and 5 times DeSantis was mentioned as the fighter of choice. The Florida Republican's attempts to portray himself as a fighter against everything from woke elites to Disney, the parent company of ABC News, seemed to be successful as he defeated his Democratic opponent by nearly 20 points in November. As he prepares to run for president against one of politics' most aggressive bare-knuckle brawlers, former President Donald Trump, DeSantis' brand now faces a new challenge. DeSantis has continued to criticize his Democratic rivals and pressured the state legislature to pass laws that he can use as campaign talking points. But when it comes to Trump, he has chosen to rely on outside organizations to launch haymakers in response to an onslaught of criticism that has covered everything from his entitlement policy to his eating habits. DeSantis delivered his most direct blow to date on Tuesday, claiming that Trump had dodged the question of whether he'd sign Florida's recent 6-week abortion ban in an interview. Overall, however, the above-the-fray playbook has led to praise that he won't engage in a mud fight with Trump, while also fueling concerns from allies that Trump will escalate the situation. He cannot participate in this while ignoring Trump. Dan Eberhardt, a well-known GOP donor who is supporting DeSantis, said that's simply not going to work. Trump is striking without being hit back. People are asking, hey, look, is DeSantis weak? As a result, why is he not answering? When will he respond? DeSantis must fight back if he wants to win, Eberhardt told ABC News. Trump, who officially began his campaign in November, has worked to establish DeSantis as his most hated opponent among his ardent supporters. He has been called Ron DeSanctus and Ron DeSanctimonious by Trump, and it was said that he was considering calling him Meatball Ron. DeSantis has also come under fire from Trump for supporting legislation to change Social Security and Medicare while he was in Congress, a third-rail political issue on which Trump has changed Republicans' positions from supporting entitlement reforms to now being largely opposed to changes. As soon as DeSantis referred to the conflict in Ukraine as a territorial dispute, Trump seized on the opportunity to express his doubt about aid to the nation and accuse him of simply copying his policies. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, speaks at the Leadership Summit honoring the Heritage Foundation's 50th anniversary on April 21, 2023 in Oxon Hill. Alex Brandon MD. AP, file. Trump has also charged DeSantis with losing a growing battle with Disney, which the latter claims started as a result of Disney's criticism of a rule that forbids discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in Florida schools. The insults, which have been a staple of Trump's speeches and advertising campaign, have coincided with aggressive outreach by the former president, which has resulted in him receiving endorsements from a number of Florida's congressional delegation. DeSantis has been largely silent about the attacks during this time, claiming he has a thick enough skin to withstand them and citing his commanding 19-point re-election margin in 2022 as evidence. When asked about Trump's criticisms in a March interview, he responded, "Call me whatever you want, just as long as you also call me a winner because that's what we've been able to do in Florida." For DeSantis, the problem is not unfamiliar. Recordings of DeSantis' debate preparation from his first run for governor in 2018 were obtained by ABC News. These recordings reveal strategy discussions at the time about how to defend positions he took against the Trump administration while in Congress in a way that's not going to piss off all his voters. DeSantis came the closest to criticizing Trump recently when, following the former president's indictment in a case involving hush money payments to porn actress Stormy Daniels, he accused the prosecutor of having a political agenda and told reporters, "I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair, I can't speak to that." Last weekend, while visiting a barbecue restaurant in Des Moines, Iowa, where Trump postponed a rally due to weather concerns, DeSantis launched another indirect shot at the president. On Monday, he lamented the current GOP culture of losing, an apparent allusion to the party's electoral struggles since Trump was elected president. But even DeSantis' allies are beginning to wonder if the Florida governor's protracted waiting period regarding his future ambitions is hurting his chances before he even officially gets off the ground. Despite DeSantis' repeated refusals to debate the former president, Trump's polling advantage has grown since earlier this year. Your opponents, the media, and the entire process start to get away from you at a certain point. According to John Thomas, the chief political strategist at the pro-DeSantis Ron to the Rescue super PAC, as the campaign's narrative starts to take shape, you need to be the one shaping it and making your mark on it, not the other way around. Given that DeSantis would need to win over at least a portion of Trump's ardent base, taking on Trump could be a precarious act. An influential Florida GOP strategist who previously worked with DeSantis said they were unsure of how aggressively the governor would ever criticize Trump, but that some Tallahassee officials were privately urging him to do so. However, the source continued, there's a part of him that needs to be positive for a while and avoid it, adding that DeSantis's team has been debating whether it would be harmful to their reputation to engage in physical conflict with Trump. Allies of DeSantis have defended him, saying it was proper for him to hold off on announcing his bid for president in 2024 until the conclusion of Florida's legislative session, and that many of Trump's cruder criticisms don't call for retaliation. The chief pro-DeSantis super PAC's founder Ken Cuccinelli said, "It shows great discipline on the part of the governor. He doesn't engage in or has engaged in the petty behavior that the president just seems unable to control." If DeSantis officially enters the primary race, Cuccinelli said he anticipates him to use his elbows a little bit more, but acknowledged that part of that is a function of being a candidate. Never Back Down has filled the void in the interim by investing millions in advertisements that portray DeSantis as the victor and Trump as the unelectable. We haven't avoided trading blows in the form of Trump's own policies to the extent that the governor has. Therefore, contrast is what we do primarily, and we do it aggressively, according to Cuccinelli. However, other allies are urging the governor's team to take Trump's threat more seriously out of a sense of urgency. Trump is a fighter like DeSantis has never encountered before, according to Eberhardt. And I believe that the MAGA world is hiding among the weeds, ready for the ambush. I support DeSantis. His team's overconfidence worries me. Such criticism was rejected by DeSantis's team. According to Dave Abrams, a representative for DeSantis's political campaign, people in the legacy media know full well that Ron DeSantis always does what is right and never backs down from a fight. Meanwhile, Trump's supporters boast that DeSantis's lack of response demonstrates that he lacks the fighting cred he has worked so hard to build and that he is caught in a lose-lose situation as he prepares to challenge the outgoing president. The truth is that, despite DeSantis's high name recognition and favorable ratings, our voters don't hold strong opinions about him the way they do about Trump. That's why Trump can sledgehammer him daily without fear of backlash from our voters, according to a steadfast Trump ally. Meanwhile, DeSantis is in a terrible situation because he has the choice of either remaining silent and appearing helpless or criticizing Trump and risking backlash from voters who have been led to believe for the past 6 years that any Republican criticizing Trump must be an establishment rhino. However, if Trump continues to berate him, DeSantis might not have a choice, according to a Florida lawmaker in touch with DeSantis and his team. Trump is this. The gloves will need to be removed completely, the person said. You cannot dabble in the water.